I'll clear that out.
I bet you will.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome
Hey,
back to
everybody. Hi. Interjection. Hi, everybody. This is Lexus T. Okay, sorry.
the R double D C Truth Seekers Mastermind. I held my breath the whole time right there while you're
I'm
interjecting.
sorry. I
Welcome
want
back.
to do something with a double dose in there. You know what I'm saying? We have the HVH double
Absolutely.
dose.
That's it. We got to show it off, right?
Yeah.
Uh, well, thank you for joining us on this lovely, beautiful, grateful, awesome
Yeah.
day.
Thank you. Thank you for.
Um, and wherever it is that you are listening to this on, that's where usually Lex goes on to say name a couple, but I can't do that. So wherever you're listening to this
For
on,
Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, TuneIn, Google Cast, Podcast Addict, Giovanni. We have another couple that I can't pronounce right now. We have SoundCloud and much, much more. There you go. Oh,
stay posted because as you can see, we kind of raised the frequency of how many events, I mean, not how many events, how many episodes we're coming out with weekly. You're
yeah,
going to see
consistent.
Sunday, Wednesday, and
Friday.
Friday, I believe. I
But
don't know
as
if it is
well, if
Sunday and
you just
Wednesday. You
check
know what?
out other updates, this is why we pay such a nice price for www.realdoubledosechannel.com. You can check out updates up there, and we are getting to the spruce. We've seen a huge increase at realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com. I was actually very excited about that. And that means Google's been really pushing in the algorithm. We're not really people to stare at different numbers because one equals 1 million. Like I said, from the beginning of time, nearly 8 years ago now, I think. So I think at this point, when I say that to everyone, it means I had to tell myself, even if one person listened, that was enough to make the 1 million effect, like they did in Planned Parenthood and the conversations of old. So that's what it is. But now we know for a fact, at least analytically, download wise, and statistics from all the other platforms, that is definitely not one, but we're hoping that it resonates enough to hit the 1 million internally. So make sure you check those out. We will be having stuff up there at the blog spot for even True Seekers Mastermind, different episodes and stuff. So just remember, you can come on this syndicate to get those different ones varying from different days and have a mashup of RDC Talk with me. You have HVH Heck versus Hell, where the truth he tells every Friday or Viernes. And we are going to be rolling out our Spanish episodes really, really good. Now, don't hate on me, okay? I'm probably like there in my chapters, but it's been a lot of years in between that I didn't get a chance to brush up as I was a child, where my conversation was like 90% Spanish all week long and 10% English. So yeah, some time has passed since then. But we're gonna be rolling that out for everybody to kind of be a part of that as well. So sorry, Heck. Let's get to it. Mr. Heck Dog, are you there?
I was just
You
talking to
don't
myself.
care.
Anyway, I said that was
Yeah, I
great.
was
That
like,
was
I
a
think
lot
he
better than I could
tapped
do.
out for a second. I
So
know
that was a
I had
lot
to
better
keep
than I could
looking.
do in terms of updates and
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's why I just
the
interjected
back
in and
end
put that
things.
out there. Okay,
I
my
mean,
bad.
because if you listen on Fridays, you see we go in, we just say hi, welcome back, and then we're like, all right, so this episode, so I don't do that all the way. So thank you very
Well,
much
good. I
for
wanted to do that just particularly for this episode too, just in case you're new tuning in. And I remember one of the people I was looking at was telling people, hey, when people say welcome back, that is to people who have been listening. But what if you're not welcome back because you haven't been here yet? So I wanted to invite you all in to just check out things, and I just treat you as you're new and you don't know what's up every time. So you can kind of find little, because we don't know what syndicates you're on from the 17 or 18, however many are out there now, really out there. We don't know where you're coming from all the way. We can see some TikTokers, we can see some Googles, we can see LinkedIn, we see different ones, but you can just stumble across it. And thank you to the little countries and little cities and towns. That's amazing. It blows me away every time Angela shows me. I got to show Hector more of the photo base on it, but just to know that you're within a country, within a town, and a city within a town. It's just beautiful to know these little places that you never even knew existed on Earth. Someone is listening and downloading the show. So I'm grateful for that. Even getting the internet connection over there, that's phenomenal. Okay. My other people too, but that was just cool.
oh yeah, I got one of my buddies over in Africa too. Shout out to my guy Festin, Kenya, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's amazing the way
Shout
that it
out
has
Festus.
been
Shout out
utilized to
Kenya.
be able to
Boom.
connect. You said what?
I said, shout out Festin, shout out Kenya. Boom. There you go.
Amen. Amen. And to be able to connect, that's one of the good things about living in this day and age, because you know what, God's ministry can be amplified. And speaking of, you probably already read the title of this episode, The Attack of the Kingdom of Heaven, which is a perfect way to transition us. I was looking for the word, right into this episode. It's great that it has been utilized to expand basically the culture of the kingdom of heaven, even to places that have maybe never even heard about Christ or haven't been exposed to it as much as we have, right? Because I mean, you can see there's some people over in China. Like, I remember this video. I don't know if you remember seeing this, Lex. There was a video that I think I had sent you or you sent me, and it was a recording of these people in China when they just basically got like a box full of Bibles, and everyone was just running to grab them, and they were just so grateful, so thankful, because in certain countries like China, they don't allow uh the Bible to be one of the books that they have access to.
No, that wasn't
So
me. But if you find that link, please send it over.
oh, it's
Absolutely.
beautiful. It's beautiful, and it just shows their gratitude in that video, and it
I heard
shows
a
how
lot.
really we take a lot of things for granted ourselves.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And you just reminded me that, with the congregations and the different church connections that I've been growed up, I say growed up in, growed up in, and just still affiliation by affiliation. They were saying that how many of them Sudan, different countries, and please blessings and love go to you, even you right now who are being slain, just for the fact that you have a Bible. Body parts being chopped, everything. Even right now, our friends are still over in different villages, missionary crews, everything else, where you
Hmm.
literally are mass taken out, and that's ridiculous. Like someone else is supposed to tell you what you're supposed to worship and do. That's sad. That's really sad. But yeah, that's that. I would love to see that link to see that if you get a chance to. If you
Oh
don't
yeah, and if you
hear
are
me
in one
for
of
a
those
minute,
countries, if
yeah,
you
if you
are
don't
in
if
one of
you
those
don't hear me
countries,
for a few
please.
seconds, I just want everybody to know I'm gonna take my little vitamin real quick, and I don't want to choke on water. So I'm like, I might just be a little quiet, but I forgot. I think for the last 2 days I've actually been forgetting to take them, so that's where I'm at right now. But I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can even find that, and I might just even post it in the caption. So if you're watching this and you can actually click on the caption or description, right? Maybe you'll be able to see that video too. If not, well, maybe I couldn't find it, but I'll try my darndest. All right. But no, yeah, if you are listening to this in one of those type of countries, please do be careful. Even if it has to be with us, don't let us get you in trouble. But of course, if you are listening to this and risking it like that, I truly believe that you do have a different kind of protection when it comes to the activities that you're doing. Obviously, that doesn't mean go and just be reckless with what you're doing, but definitely be bold and knowing that God is with you, that you are protected. Okay. And we're talking about the real God, not all these other little
Amen.
denominations that stem
Amen.
from false gods and all that good stuff, right?
Salute.
Um,
Salute.
so yeah, I mean, because even you know what, even as that being a conversation, we could see this isn't something that's new, right? The attack of the culture of the kingdom of heaven, it's not something that's new, because we can go way back, all the way to even what is it, King David's times. And in those days, well, right, we know King David, if you don't know, he was the man given the title, the man after own heart, God's own heart. Okay, yeah, said it right. And he was just so righteous, he loved God. He wanted to do everything to please God. Just a prime example of what we should be pursuing to be, right? Obviously, it doesn't come close to Christ, but besides him, just a great example of what it is to live in as a kingdom cultured person. Okay. And we see that even in those days, there are so many different types of temptation, right? Where if you are familiar with reading those different sections of the Bible, I believe it's First Samuel and Second Samuel where it really talks about him, and then once you start going into Second Samuel, it talks about his son. and his son inherited the kingdom that God placed on David. And David had all these promises given from God that was really saying, you're going to keep this kingdom, you're going to be the lineage from which Christ comes from. You are not going to lose Israel. Israel is yours. This is your kingdom. We're going to pass it down. Well, for you, right? And so later down the line, you see King Solomon. It gets inherited. King Solomon becomes a king, one of the wisest men in the Bible as well. Whenever he was put up to the question of what would he like to have, he didn't ask for money. He didn't ask for anything materialistic. He didn't ask for more power. He asked for wisdom. And that's where we start to see Ecclesiastes and we start to see Proverbs and all this other good stuff. So, these are two very influential characters in the Bible, but we go into fully reading the story of King Solomon himself, right? And this promise has already been made with David, but later down the line, we see King Solomon. He had, what was it, like 700 wives, 300 concubines, well over 1,000 women he was sleeping with.
Wow, that's
And
insane.
yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I don't even imagine what he was doing, right? Like, even to try to fathom something like that. Like, I can't even remember a person's name I might see every day. And 700, if you just, see one once a day or something, you gotta go a 2-year rotation to see the same one again. If I don't know how he's doing it, to be honest, but
I mean, he
it
might have
goes
had
to
a
show
couple. He
you.
might have had a couple a day. I mean, he could have had
Oh yeah,
a whole
yeah,
orgy.
absolutely. And they
Yeah.
might have had to come around with name tags, like if it was some high
Oh,
school
I
reunion or
got that
something.
one. Yeah.
But
Some Egyptians, some, what do you call it? Some calligraphy we don't understand.
right, right. Or he just maybe just gave him numbers, and that was it. Number one, come here.
Yeah.
No, but he actually had favorites, right? He had different types of favorites. Which ones he wanted to be with more, even to where he had the daughter of Pharaoh. Um, and essentially, he was so invested in these women, his 700 wives, his 300 concubine, where they literally had to take up a majority of his time if he was to have that kind of rotation. And being a man with so much wisdom, so much power, that was his vice, right? We spoke about that previously, right, Lex, about picking your poison. I think that's what it was called, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been part two, actually.
Picking your
I
poison,
think so,
something like that.
because at the
Yeah.
same time, I mean that person, it's amazing how you wouldn't even have time to think. And honestly, what he could have been doing, if they really want to break it down, a lot of them concubines are the women's quote intuition. He could have been picking their brain on getting a lot of counsel, a lot of things you learn from different other sources. Because to have that many is just excessive. Excessive.
Oh
I know
yeah.
I can't talk for how it was back then, but I don't even think he probably slept with all of them. I think they were just there on standby just in case he wanted them. Honestly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because some of them they were kind of, I guess you could say, like ceremonial or
Uh-huh.
whatever it's called. Political
Yeah,
in the
some of them
sense
are
of.
actually reserved because I was looking at the book of Esther, but more so reading it, it was different when I was younger, but I have to reread it again. But just the movie itself that came out, I think YouTube had a series that came out with some Bible movies in Esther, and I remember how he had all these concubines. So he suggested after his wife was, basically denying to see him, the king, he said, "Oh, well, how about this? We'll go get some, your majesty will go out there and get some concubine or some ladies. We'll get all the virgins in town and we'll go from home to home and we'll come to bring them to the kingdom and bathe them and dress them in fine oils and clothes for you. And basically you have them like a can of sardines or some olives. You pick one if you want." And they were just in there, "I hope the king picks me. I hope the king picks." And I'm like, yeah, a lot of them will just be, they're dedicated. Because when I think his name was, not, is it Malachi? No, what was it? I
I
had
don't think
one
I
the
can
other.
help you there.
Oh, Mordecai, Mordecai. Because I had woke up the other day. I didn't tell Heck about that. Actually, yeah, I had. Heck, let me tell you. So I
Spill the
had
tea.
Yeah, the tea with Lexi, Bo. Don't worry about that. Hashtag Lex Effect Coach and coming to you real soon.
The
We're gonna have
Lexus tea
we're
time.
gonna have True Secret Mastermind Alliance, different ones too, where you guys can come on. Actually, they have that on TikTok or here and kind of speak your mouth, your mind, and speak verbally or whatever you want to do, and have some tea too. But I had woke up and I think I had reached and grabbed for a water bottle or something, and I sometimes I just literally look like a popped up corpse. And it's not the tiredness. Like I will wake up and I will sit up like almost like you see those people in the scary movies where the morgue you see the bodies just sit up directly. I'll sit up just like that, my eyes wide open as though I never slept, and a name will come to me and I have to write it. And what came to me was Abimelech in the Bible. And then later on that after morning, by the time I got up to brush my teeth, I kept saying Mordecai, Mordecai. And I remember some time ago when I had this that spirit of an angel, or I believe the angel of the Lord speak to me before I could even fall asleep. And it was clear as day. The feeling was something that will never be humanified ever in this lifetime. I had woke up and I remember a few days in, I said, "What is your name?" Because it says, "Shh, be quiet, be still. I have to put something in you. You won't remember what I'm telling you by mental, but your insides will understand the message I'm putting inside of you." And I was like, oh, and I was just so, it was the most angelic, I mean, God angelic voice and being. It's an undescribable, everyone. And it gives me teary eyed because it's so deep. And the world and Marvel movies, no offense, will have you believing it's only on some sci-fi channel or in some creation studio. But where do you think they get all these ideas from? Where do you think they get all this inspiration from and these the intuition to even do that? So but yeah, that came to me saying Elijah. So Elijah, I believe Elijah was the voice, and they never died. You remember that? They're not the dead, so it's not anything to do with what do you call that? Pops. What is it called? Popcorn. What is it called? It's called. Isn't it called?
Necromancy.
Yes. Thank you. Big brains. I love his big brains. Yeah,
Thank you.
necromancy. But yeah, that name came. But Mordecai. Let's just get back on that. I'm sorry. I'll give you guys a little story. That's what it's supposed to be about. But Mordecai was basically the one to, submit his thing. So the meaning of Mordecai, he was submitting before the Lord, even though the king had told them, hey, he had chose Esther because she was the one who gave him wisdom and conversation, where the other ones were just, I just want to be, chosen by the king, kind of like we are now when we see celebrities. And I'm going to take a reference point from in the Mexican OT hashtag, ain't endorsing him, but he was on some real stuff. He said, you know, I don't understand why the people are in my DMs. All these girls want to have sex with me. All these people want to hang out with me. Why? Why do you want to do this thing? You know nothing about me. And I started thinking that I'm like, it's the same thing. Like you want to be with someone who's known, and I'm sure it's happening to plenty of musicians, people out there, movie stars or whatever. But that right there, his sincerity in his voice was like he was almost like confused, and like when I saw his face, he just looked like, what is going on? Like you guys are just wanting to have sex with me just to say you had intercourse with me, or just to say my name was on you. And that's what it gets to. But Esther had the humility that she needed to have. And when those names come to me, so far I've had Elisha, I've had no, I had Anunai, and I think that's actually related to the Anunnaki. I know. I've had Elijah, uh, and then I also have had different ones in between too. And then late recently has been Abimelech and Mordecai. So I'm gonna give you this real quick. Yeah, so the meaning of Mordecai itself, I was looking for different variations and they have that as well. But in the Bible story, the children will learn from a man named Mordecai in the book of Esther. We will learn from this his example of caring for others, doing the right thing no matter what, and remaining faithful to God. They will learn that they should never grow tired for doing the right thing. And that's pretty much,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it's really deep.
Blood diamond.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just that kind of feeling. And I have no idea how we went on the road of that, but well, we had a big time gap. You guys, it was only like a good maybe 2 minutes, but hopefully that's edited out. Hey, it is what it is. It's still serving a slice of everyday life. Okay.
That's right.
So, we're trying to get those goodies. And I had
Amen.
them. The thing is, everybody, I have these notes. And when you get it, I'm going to show you all my phone on stage. I'm going to have Angela highlighted right on the screen. I have probably between all 3 or 4 of my phones since Cali alone. I have over maybe 70,000 notes. I can't even count. I say that because there are notes within notes, but I have so many I can't. It's just endless. I have notes and
Yeah, I might
screenshots.
have to do one of those little slideshows. I don't know if you've seen them where it's like
Yeah,
this
because
amount equivalates to this much. I'll go like this is how many words, this is how many notes, this
yeah,
is
because
how
Google
many the
told me
average
that.
book, this is how many pages and words the average book holds. I'll go like Lex basically has 3,400 whatever in books just in notes, a
Yeah,
little
thank
slideshow.
you. Well, because you know what, I started, I started looking at all of them, and I was like, at this point right now, I don't know. Like I had over 9,000 some odd photos by the time I got this new Google Pixel Pro 7. So that's I right now I probably have at least maybe 12,000 different photos. But it's just I do a lot of screenshots, a lot of note screenshots, a lot of other screenshots and different photography as well, nature. But yeah, I had it ready is what I'm saying about Mordecai, but it's probably like below 1,700 photos. I can't even that's what I meant. So I had to go digging. Anyhow, we'll follow. Let's follow along there, Mr. Heck.
Yeah, that's one. I think I was talking about King Solomon still. To go a little back step a little bit, and basically about how he had all these wives, and they really had to be taking up a majority of his time. To have that many. I mean, if you have a relationship, it's kind of difficult to even have one that's a real woman, anyways. So some kind of situation had to be going on there.
Oh, he's funny. He's
But
funny.
you gotta see, they actually started going, and I guess it was his favorites. I don't know exactly what it was, but you could see it in First Kings chapter 11. I don't want to read the whole chapter, just because it is quite a long chapter, and I'll probably be here for like 10 minutes because I'm a slow reader, right? I got that slow
Yeah.
country, like Miss Lex here says.
Ooh,
But anyways,
you are definitely something. Every time, I notice everyone, every time we come on here, he has so much regression with his own journey. Mr. Heck always has to add something in there that he just loves about Lex in his life. Thank you.
that's something that I love. I love talking the way I do. So
Thank
I'm
you
like,
very much.
you
I
know what I
appreciate
mean?
that compliment. That's a compliment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see it as a compliment.
We
Not
spend
that
a lot of
slow
time with each
country.
other, everybody. Trust me. It's like almost a twinopathy here. So we spend a lot of time with each other. So when you're hearing this, you might be like, oh, what's going No, it's not any low-key aggression. It's just us. I mean, after this, we'll have another conversation about something else. So we enjoy each other's company a lot more than you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, but I guess it was his favorites that I was doing like a quick, scan over that chapter. I guess it
Uh-huh.
was his favorites, but they literally had specific gods, that they came from, because they came from different tribes that the the Lord had specifically said not to marry into those type of families, right? And we could see something like that too. He would basically say, "Okay, we'll try to keep it in this bloodline because I've kind of chosen you guys, so keep it in the family. No Sweet Home Alabama stuff." But
Uh-huh.
we see that, and he's going to marry these foreign females that are not from even the area where he's from, Israel, and it's just they lead him into completing these different rituals, even to the point where I believe it was him. I can't remember if it was him or if it was his son. One of them had actually set up an altar for Baal. And if you're not familiar with Baal, it's Baal. He's the same one as Moloch, Molech, where they go and they actually require you to sacrifice children into a fire. Right? That's what it was called back in that day. We can go down a whole different conversation about the brand Balenciaga, how that I think I think in Latin, if I'm not mistaken, the translation of Balenciaga is like ball is king. So we see that these attacks have always been going on for so long, even to the point where once he was going and starting to do these rituals, it was already an attack on the kingdom of heaven, because those were God's people. Now us, we're God's people, okay? So we are those people, if that makes sense. Those are us, we are them. So that attack has always been consistently going on. And you can see that he even went so far as to almost rip out the kingdom that was supposed to be handed down generation after generation because of the promise he made with David. He almost snatched it entirely out of his hands, but he still left a small enough chunk to where a kingdom was still there. So that attack has been going on forever, and especially now. I mean, we can go deep into these conversations too, as like you were telling me, Lex, right? Was how you notice there's so many people that attack Christians in specific, right?
Yeah.
They start going and tarnishing the name of Christ, belittling, mocking him. I mean, what was it? Just a week ago or something, the whole situation. I mean, you're listening to this now, it's probably a couple weeks had passed, but that whole situation with the Olympics, they were mocking God. And although that wasn't right, that wasn't the exact depiction of Christ and the disciples in those days. Have you seen that?
I
The
don't think
opening
so.
for the Olympics?
Yeah, I think I saw something like that. Yeah, that was insane. Like the table or the feast, or excuse me, the Last Supper.
Right. They were doing like a different form of the Last Supper and just making it very demonic, I'll say. Because obviously those people, they don't know what they're doing. I feel bad for those people as a person themselves. They have no idea what they're doing. They just want to do it because of their own pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of that, right? We can go into deep conversations because we are taught, especially in our culture of the kingdom of heaven, not in a Western society culture, nothing like that, but in the culture of the kingdom of heaven, we're taught we have to be patient, we have to be loving, we have to be understanding, even to the point where at times we may even have to get beat up, right? I remember, I don't know, man, I can't remember his name. This is the one that I always tell you about, the one that's like, Jesus Christ. Um, I love him. I love him so much. But he was telling a story too about how he actually got jumped one day, and he comes from that kind of lifestyle, a rough lifestyle, get it how you live, blood in, blood out. He comes from that lifestyle, and he was jumped by like four guys. And he wanted so bad to retaliate, but as he was on the floor getting jumped, fist balled up, he had to unclench his fists because he understood that's not what it is and what it means to represent Christ, represent God.
Mm-hmm.
That we are made in a form to be persecuted because later on we will get exalted. Now, of course, I will say there are certain situations when it may be, hey, you got to stand up for someone else, right? But that's a whole different case in itself, and that's actually a promise that I came to an understanding with God myself. Was I'll allow myself to get beat down, but not God's people, Like
Mm-hmm.
if I see someone go over to Lex and start hitting on her, hey, what's going on, bub? You know, but you know what I mean. But no, that's kind of the situation that I have. But because of him doing that and not retaliating, one of the guys had actually gone, and after he stood up and everything, and he still said, "I'll pray for you. I'll be praying for you guys." One of the guys had actually went and gave him his testimony. I'm getting chills right now. He gave him his testimony about how
I
his
got chills too,
grandma is
but
the
I
only
think a
one
little
that
bit was
prays
because
from
of it.
him.
So.
Yeah, how his grandma is the only one that prays from him. How he's been so angry. He really hates himself. He hates that lifestyle. He doesn't know why he does it, and he just showed him a whole different representation and a whole different side of how God truly wants to reach out to him. And it's that kind of persecution. So we can always see there's always going to be an attack. There's always going to be a situation where we're persecuted. And now, of course, I will have to say we do have to take a stand and come together, so that we can expand the journey. Because John the Baptist, I mean, John was gangster, okay? He was over here pulling up to who was it? Was it King Herod or something like that? No, it wasn't him, was it?
I
He
think
came to
so. Maybe.
someone's marriage, I believe it was, and he was basically, hey, boom, repent, telling the king directly, and they chopped off his head for that. So he was on some real bold stuff, and that's what I loved about him especially. But it's the point of being bold but expecting the attacks. And this attack was something that's just gonna always go on. They believe they can start a war with God, start a war with the kingdom, the ultimate kingdom, which is ours, right? But they can't. And that's what we got to understand. Really, even if you look at Christ, he almost pitied the demons whenever he was casting them out of the pigs. If you've read the Gospels, there was a man that was rabid, basically, and he casted out these demons. They said, "I am Legion," and he casted them out into a couple pigs. I believe it was a couple hundred pigs, and that was a sign of mercy, but it was also a sign of understanding that he's got to be persecuted, because him doing that, he was in Gentile territory, and Gentiles in that time was everyone outside of Jewish. Okay, so they didn't have the same understanding, they didn't have the same principles as the Israelites did when it came to don't eat pork. So that was literally their livelihood that was taken from them. They go and they raise that as their farm animal so they could sell, so they could eat. That's their livelihood right there. And yet he still had enough pity and mercy, even on the demons, to be able to say, hey, go in there. And that's just beautiful, because that type of mercy, even to them, is astounding. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell you, hey, have mercy on the devil. Don't go and try to put yourself in that type of situations, because there's so many times we will see, okay, well, there's a person here in my life that has this situation going on with him, but there's also a fine line between familiarity, because we have to also understand that we can't stay where the attacks are coming from, because in certain situations it's the ones closest to us where we can't reach out to, just because they have such a commonality, such a familiarity with us, to where they won't allow themselves to see us as any different. And just like Christ, he couldn't perform the miracles that he did within Nazareth because of their lack of faith. Okay, so expect it, but be equipped. Be equipped with the knowledge to understand the battles that you're going to be in, to be equipped with the knowledge to know when to walk away, when to stand tall, when to, whatever it is that you have to do. Because ultimately, I don't want you, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, when it comes to those different countries, we don't want you to put yourself in harm's way if it's not needed, right? Because even in certain scriptures, Christ was seen fleeing. Even in certain other portions of the Bible, I can't remember who it was. I believe it might have been King Hezekiah. I don't know if Hezekiah was king. I get confused with all these names. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I get confused with a bunch of these names because they're unfamiliar to me. Growing up, I could tell you Jose the second, something like that, because that's more names that I'm familiar with. They are very unique, but I do need to learn them more and what exactly it fits with what they did, right? But it was one king. God had actually told them that he wasn't going to be with them when they went up to fight a certain army, and they ended up almost getting slaughtered, all completely wiped out. And there's been other instances when God has said go, like that one where they had done almost like a siege. And I'm telling you, I know the Bible, but I don't know the scriptures down to a T. You know, I know the history. Um, of course, I'm always learning, right? And they go, and he tells them, go around the castle, march around the castle 7 times, and then siege them. And it was just a complete wipeout. There's been so many situations like that. So we got to have the discernment also to understand not only when to attack, but the battles themselves, that battle IQ, I guess we could call it, right? To be able to enter these battles equipped with the armor of God. Okay, and that's where we really have to go into these different type of scriptures, into the understanding of what we need to be. And a lot of that comes from even the New Testament, because there is a difference, and that's the next episode that I actually want to talk about. I'm taking this off, I'm running off with it. I just want to give you a little context. You know, Lex had a little situation right now, shot me a little text, but she'll be right back. But that's the next conversation that I want to have, is the difference in time before and after Christ, because nowadays a lot of what goes on in our lives, the difference in the situation before Christ was the fact that we now have the Holy Spirit to lead us in a different way. Okay, we now have different knowledge that necessarily doesn't apply to what goes on or what went on back in those biblical days. Even now, because we have, you know, internet, we can connect ourselves to people across the world, but with that, it also comes with repercussions, right? Um, if I'm not saying that correctly, okay. But anyways, it's just we got to know when to hold them, know when to show them, know when to walk away, as that one great song goes. I know that's about like Texas Hold'em. I don't know if you've heard that song. I think it was like on uh Dos Equis commercial or something like that, a beer commercial. But now we really have to have that kind of knowledge, and that's why it's very important also to be able to brush up on our scripture consistently, right? Because that's literally our training guide for spiritual warfare. Because that's really what it is. You're never gonna get direct attacks or attacks that are as painful or as detrimental in the physical as you will in the spiritual. Because ultimately the flesh dies, right? So any attacks that happen in the flesh, you could be healed in two weeks max, right? You could be going the
Repercussion,
rest of your life.
repercussion,
And what was that?
repercussion.
Repercussions. Pretty close.
No, I didn't. I actually was back. I had everyone I had to use a little ladies' room. I had a lot of maybe like 30, I have about 40 ounces of water before all this happened. So I was like, I was winging it, but I'm like, no, let's just go for it. And then on top of that, I got an alert for a severe thunderstorm coming, and I started seeing the outside turn dark on me. So I was like, well, let me get a little prepared instead of running right into the rain to move my car. So that's pretty much where my mind is. I kind of look at the weather, I don't want to get caught up in the weather, but I was enjoying the conversation. I just want to pop back in. So
No, of
yeah,
course, of course.
absolutely. So where were
But
we at
yeah,
with
no,
Christianity?
I mean that's how it is, right? We can. The flesh is temporary. It even the attacks that we see now, even with you with your sciatica, right? It's temporary. We're gonna have new bodies. We're gonna have the whole different understanding. So it's good, and it will be difficult to live and continue to live this life with the principles. Of course, there's gonna be times where we may lose our patience, where we may become a little aggressive. I don't know if you've seen. Absolutely love Pastor Gino Jennings. We're gonna have him on here soon. He does some great pastor work himself, but he's had an altercation even in his church. You know, there was a guy that was over there. I don't know. He was doing something, and I think they even might have pulled out a gun. But you know, it's different altercations. But in any case, we could be like, man, what's his name? Apostle Marie. You know who I'm talking about? The one that they came. There was someone that came in the church, and they tried pretty much stabbing him with a knife.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Did
mean,
they poke his eye out or something?
it damaged his eye. I don't know if he lost it. It
Oh,
definitely
okay.
damaged his eye, but even God allowed the knife to not fully open. So he was hitting him with a blunt knife, like with the knife closed essentially because it was like a pocket knife. But obviously that could still do some damage. I've been hit in the eye. It does not feel nice. But the
Mm.
fact that he was still able to go and right immediately after start preying on him, that's
You know
you
what?
know what I
That's
mean.
that
That's
that is what
amazing.
you call, because he knew already what he was up against. So I want
Exactly.
everyone to take this and just know that we're gonna have another conversation that I had notes upon. I'll get thousands of notes. About being able to talk about extraterrestrial life as well as, yeah,
Ooh.
and then also the Anunnaki, or the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, and then the ones that have been invading Ecuador and the other places too, I believe, that have been
Mm,
documented now, to where they're seeing these people fly on ships, and what they are, what they could be, and other conversations. And we're probably going to have some guest experts that say that they've actually met these creatures,
really?
and so forth. Yeah, there's some deep interviews coming. That's gonna be on the Real
Oh, I
Double Dose
can't
channel.
wait.
There's gonna be on the Real Double Dose channel segments, and that's gonna air
Stay
out.
tuned.
Yeah, we have them in between. So if you see TSMA, True Seekers Mastermind Alliance, you know the conversation is hand. And then Real Double Dose channel is gonna have different ones, but for that one, we're gonna have those specific interviews on the True Seekers Mastermind Alliance, so you know exactly where they'll be. And then we'll have experts about maybe men depression, erectile dysfunction. It could be anything. It could be a woman's hormones, anything under the
Right.
sun. Like serving a slice of everyday life is what Real Double Dose channel is going to have. So please stay tuned for that. And then Heck is going to be having some different interviews on his shows that come up from the selection that he has that are represented in that. And maybe it can help some of us, millennials and Gen Zers get to our journeys. And anybody else of any age, don't worry, we're from the ages of 13 that we know all the way to 80 years old plus. So this is
That's
for that,
correct.
on this right here. But I want to make sure we leave a recap on that conversation, to much, much more coming as we build out True Seekers Mastermind Alliance. And some of it's on the drop of a hat, some of it's stuff we talked about. But remember, we have our own personal shows. We have other things we're working on in the back, the coaching levels, everything going on. So thank you for being patient and working with us on this. And we like to leave you with a little so you're like, hey, well, wait a minute, what's
Mm-mm.
like, no finish line. We're still, this is the marathon, baby.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
so we're gonna say rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle, on that one. But he had a thing called the marathon. It's not just gonna be over after a mile. Marathon might be whole 50, 100 mile marathons. It's just a journey after journey after journey. So Heck, you
You know
want
what? That's actually kind of because I got a little bit of a layout for soul ties and entanglements, specifically soul ties. I know we haven't talked about it too much. If you're new,
Yeah, don't be rolling it out right now. Don't be rolling
yeah,
it
I'm not
out.
gonna roll it out, but
Don't
that's
be
kind
trying
of
to
how
get
it
too
is. Is
much.
how
Don't
it
be
just
trying to get too much the
consistently
Laffy
goes
Taffy
back
right now.
to back to back.
You hear him
Yeah,
over here trying to give people the conversation. Like, listen, nobody asked you to be telling our personal vault
I
right
gotta
now.
prep them. I gotta tease
That's the
them. You know what
goodie.
I'm
That's the goody bag. But
saying?
I'm happy that you did let them know. So yeah, you guys heard it. I don't want people out there saying they think they know what it is. No, you don't. And it's gonna be
No,
more for
you
all
don't.
of you to kind of come on and be that. See, a lot of times the people or the presenters or the hosts, whoever, the speaker has to take it, but it's time for you all to take control of the seat that you have and be put on a platform to be able to exuberate that to many other people. That's the problem. The voices of every thousand stay so quiet, and it's just the main speaker speaking. It's time to make that thousands of voice become one voice that's heard. And that's what
Hmm.
I've been on the mission for RDC about for so long. I said, I'm so tired of everybody just pretending that everyone that's listening doesn't really have much of a conversation. And the only person that's on there is the person giving the conversation. And it should be a balance between that. So I want to have that. I'm
Amen.
going to have to check out, and on a Heck could be on here. I want to say I love you. This is Lexus T. I'm going to have to move a little bit. I probably can still hear it, maybe, but I do have to beat the severe thunderstorm warning that's coming.
I thought that was the cutoff. Actually, I thought we were
Oh yeah,
already.
it is kind of, but just
Yeah,
in
yeah,
case it
yeah.
wasn't, I
Let's
didn't want
go.
to interject you. I was kind of a little. I had a little bit of anxiety where my chest kind of felt tight, and I was like, "Ooh!" And I started looking. I'm looking right now at the window, and the light is going down as I keep speaking. So my thing is, I don't
Hmm.
feel like jumping in the car with rain and lightning and try to jump right now. So my safety is very important. But yeah, it's been fun.
Amen.
It's been amazing. We are not done with this. We're gonna be on for a part two, potentially part two. Heck, you want to go on part two, or were you thinking?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
already, I already pre-capped it.
Well, pre-capped.
That's
So yeah, just stay tuned for the next little intro here. We might just log back on to the conversation as soon as when we get some things adjusted and take a little miniature break right now. And yeah, we'll be back with you all very soon.
All right. Love you. Peace,
Don't
love, and
sound so
blessings.
sad. Don't sound so sad. You
Because I
heard that,
know.
everybody? All right. Oh,
Yeah, right.
pobrecito.
What do they say? I hate to see you go, but I love to see you leave.
I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you leave, or something like that.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely stay tuned. Get prepared for the next one. We're just gonna go and go and go. We might even up that frequency a little more. Start going for 4 episodes a week, which I think is very, very looking like it. Right? I think
We'll
we
see.
could
We'll
pretty
see what
much predict that.
happens. We'll see what happens. There's no promises. It's always God's will, and it's always about what we can fit in our calendar, what we do. Because I'm telling you, I have never had a person that had more problems of abundance than I do. I don't know about the rest,
Mm,
but I'm saying if not, I might not be on here, but other people will as we roll it out. I don't like to give. Me personally, I don't like to roll out things and say it if it's not going to be officially so. But yeah, it is looking like that. Heck, I mean, maybe about 3 to 4 episodes a week. It's not about a quantity, it is quality. And my thing is, if you do get 2 episodes a week, it's about the quality. If you get three, it's about the quality. It's about the
don't
depth.
hate, appreciate. Here.
Yeah, because a lot of people are about pumping them out, but there's no meat inside of it. It's just the plate. And for me, I want to have the whole thing served up for you, at least a good 75 to 80%, so you can take away something and not be, long winded with some of the stuff that I have. Well, it's just us singly. You'll notice some of my episodes are like 10 minutes, 15. One, it preserves my energy, and two, it keeps you for what you have to get to the meat and potatoes, and also keeps gone a longevity. And when you get to our YouTube channel, you'll be able to have some of those other shorter segments and actually longer ones. I know YouTube's more the platform for the longer ones, right along with these kind of syndicates right now. Obviously, our TikToks are about a minute under and so forth, but we're getting that together. Anyhow, this is Lexus T. I love you. You're amazing. We will be back with you soon on Truth Seekers Mastermind Alliance. This is Lex and Heck versus Hell, with the truth he tells. And yeah,
Correct.
this is. Can you just recap the name of this episode so they can know the part one of it?
This is part one, the attack on the kingdom of heaven.
The attack on the
Boom.
Kingdom of Heaven, part one. Truth Seekers
Part
Mastermind.
one.
All right, everybody. Love you. We'll be back with part two, and stay right there until we see you again. And you know what I
And
mean.
we'll
I mean,
catch
stay
you.
on the flip side. All
That's
right.
right.